Start with item 2, public comment. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
No, Chairman, we do not.
All right, we'll move to item 3A, consideration of an action on the minutes of the November 12th, 2024 meeting. Those were in your packets. Any comments to the minutes? Got a motion to approve by Commissioner Landine. Is there a second?
Second.
Who got it? Show me hands. Did you get it? A unanimous second. Okay. I've got a motion and a second by multiple commissioners, and any other discussion? All right, please vote at this time. All right, that passes unanimously among the commissioners. Second, let the record reflect that Commissioner Patel had the formal second on that. We will now move on to item 4A, subdivision plat. Consideration of an action on the John Sharp Drive street dedication and lift station preliminary plat. Jessica Rodriguez, Interim Assistant Director of Planning Development Services. Good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. So just to give you some background on preliminary plats, it's probably been a while since you've gotten to see some of these. You'll be seeing a lot more of them. I will tell you that with these new developments starting up. But the purpose is to approve the layout. That's for in cases where we have the lots, and then those streets. You have accesses to those reserves in the preliminary plats. What you're not going to see are master notes, signature blocks, anything that would get recorded with the county, because the preliminary plats are not recorded with the county. This is an overview of Abbey Lakes. Abbey Lakes is what's known as Tract 2. And I'll go over that a little bit more, but it's the prison property that we have in Tract 2. Abbey Lakes came about from a settlement agreement that was done in February of 2022, which then produced a development agreement in March of 22. Essentially, what you would be looking at is it created the concept plan and then also Fort Bend County MUD 234. In that, we have extensions for Owens Road, which is John Sharp Drive before you. So it ties in with the railroad tracks with US 90A, extensions of water and sewer trunk lines, floodplain mitigation, and regional drainage and detention for the site. The city then initiated a rezoning per that settlement agreement, and that was done by Ordinance 2263 in May of 2022. It rezoned 100 acres of M1 property to R1, and then it rezoned 120 acres of M1 property to R1Z. So the concept plan, what you see is properties that are going to be to the north of John Sharp are going to be zoned R1, and properties to the south are going to be zoned R1Z, which is our patio home. The future land use map was also amended from light industrial to suburban neighborhood to acknowledge this new development of Abbey Lakes. The development agreement was amended with amendment number 1 in March of this year. We had some changes to the concept plan, not anything minor, but just things that were more concrete. And then also agreements with the joint drainage projects between the developer and the city. There are 637 total lots in the development, 371 that are your patio home zoning, and 266 that are in the standard residential zoning. This is the location of it. As I said, it's Tract 2. It's located north of 90A. To the west is Fort Bend County. So that's an extension of John Sharp that goes into Fort Bend County. And then to the east is the city of Sugar Land's property. And then there's a blow up of this. It runs straight through the middle of the development where you have access to what's going to be the north. As I said, with the R1 property. And then R1Z property on the south, and then some industrial M1 zone property that remains. With the street dedication plat, we have 8.75 acres of property. That includes the right-of-way street dedication, and then also the lift station. It's comprised of the R1, R1Z, and M1 zonings in Tract 2. This is the John Sharp Drive, which has access eventually, like I said, to the west with Fort Bend County, and then to the east with the city's connection that'll eventually connect with US 90A. This is the proposed preliminary plat that is before you. It's pretty simple. There are no lots that you need to measure or ensure that we have the correct sizing. The right-of-way size conforms. And then also, I know that there was a question amongst the commission, Commissioner Dawu, about the 1-foot buffer reserve. So you're going to see a 1-foot buffer reserve around all of the street dedication plat, and that's left there because all the property around it, it's not platted. So if any of this property would be platted with a right-of-way, you would see that. So as you're going to see different pieces and parts come together with the different sections, if there's another section that's going to connect to it that's not platted, you may only see it on one of the roadways where you would have that 1-foot buffer. But in this case, since it's completely surrounded by property that's not been platted, you're going to see that 1-foot buffer around all of the right-of-way for John Sharp. We've had some changes to platting since 2019 with the legislative session and House Bill 3167. It basically gives you the option as the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve with conditions that cite the code, and then disapprove with the explanation that also cites a code. It's important to remember that there always has to be a code citation and how the plat does not meet the minimum requirements. You are allowed to approve with conditions, like I said, with those code requirements, or disapprove. There's a platting guide before you that can help you group the different requirements that are needed with code references when you have that action. Sorry. The recommendation this evening is to recommend approval of the John Sharp Drive Street Dedication Lift Station and preliminary plat before you. I am here if you have any questions about the plat.
Thank you. Questions for staff? All right, I'll ask a couple questions just for the record, Jessica. All right, so could you just give us a high-level summary of why staff is asking for approval of this? Staff recommends approval. Why is that?
We are asking for approval because it meets the minimum requirements in our development code for a preliminary plat, which we have a checklist that is given to the applicants as a checklist that we also work with. And then also just the background a little bit more on the preliminary plat. What you're not going to see is detailed engineerings of it. They may show it to us. It is not required. Is it in conformance with that concept plan as far as like layout, and we're not having a big difference of it.
Thank you. And how long is that good for? How long is there a certain period of time in which it has to be presented for a final?
Yes, sir. The applicant has a year before that preliminary plat expires. If they need an extension, they are allowed to come before this governing body again and ask for that extension. And I believe that extension can be granted up to 1 year thereafter.
Okay, I get the street, but can you talk a little bit about why we also have to plat the lift station?
Well, we've got to have something to like move it and push it. I guess that's the best way I can describe that. There are no utilities out there, hence it's not platted. There's nothing out there. All right, and it's required that be platted as well, right? We do require when you get to final plat that you have sewer and water connections, and that ensures that when that new homeowner is going to go in that lot and they're going to build that house, they can turn on the faucet and they can flush the toilet.
All right, thank you. Hearing no other questions for the staff, I'll make a motion recommending approval of the John Sharp Drive Street Dedication and Lift Station preliminary plat. Is there a second? Second. Got a second from Commissioner Brown. Any further discussion? All right, please vote. That passes unanimously among the commissioners present. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm sorry, Jessica. You are not. Jessica Eccles is coming for this one. All right, let me just stick with the program. Maybe I'll do a little bit better. We'll move on to item 4B, consideration of an action on the Rye Hill Parkway Street Dedication Section 2 preliminary plat. Jessica Eccles, interim senior planner. Good evening.
Good evening. You guys have a copy of the plats. I don't know if you want to take a moment to open them or if you just want to view it on your screen, however you guys want to do it. We got it? Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and start then. So this is the first preliminary plat for Rye Hill, which is a new development in the city's ETJ. This preliminary plat specifically is for Rye Hill Parkway Section 2, which contains approximately 12 acres and is a street dedication for Section 2, one of the first sections of the Collector Street through this development. This plat is located south of FM 2759 and east of FM 762, which is located at the boundary of Sugarland's ETJ and Rosenberg city limits. Rye Hill Parkway will connect to FM 762, which is in Rosenberg city limits, and into the future connection or extension of Reading Road. Just as an overview, since this is the first preliminary plat for Rye Hill and it's a new development, the City of Sugar Land entered into a development agreement with Pulte Homes back in December of 2023. The development agreement was for a proposed development of approximately 960 acres for a master plan mixed-use community in the city's ETJ. It's proposed to have a mix of approximately 2,335 single-family residential lots and Del Webb residential lots, which is a 55 and up community. Below are those ranges of the minimum lot sizes for both the single family and Del Webb communities. And it's also going to include approximately 60 acres of flex or commercial uses north of 2759, which you can see here in the red on this general development plan. Also, the red box shows the section for this plat. This is section 2 of Rye Hill Parkway. So this preliminary plat includes 4 sheets. The first sheet shows the overall section, and then sheet 2, it has the first section of it, middle section, and the third section of the street dedication. I know Jessica already went over this, but as a reminder, the commission may approve a preliminary plat or approve it with conditions or disapprove an explanation. And with that, staff is recommending approval of this proposed Rye Hill Parkway Street Dedication Section 2 preliminary plat.
Questions for staff?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Looking at the drawing in the table on sheet 404, or sheet 204, looks like curve line 34 is showing 284.46 feet, and I believe it's 206.28. So you may want to look at that.
You said sheet 204?
Yeah, so sheet 404 in the table, it's showing line C34 in the table of being 284.46. On the drawing, it's 206.28. Just a correction, that's all. It's the only one I
Do you want to make that as a condition of your approval?
yeah, it needs to be corrected, please.
Okay.
That's all I've got, thank you.
And that's a correction to the legend table?
To the curve table.
Curve table. So line C34
Got it.
shows 284.46, and it's showing 206.28 on the, so the table needs to be amended.
Okay, I got it. Any other questions?
Jessica, I can't top the advanced commissionering by my colleague, but I did just generally, the vicinity map is just simply to help us gain context. That's
Correct.
not a part of the approval, is that right?
Technically it is because it's on the preliminary plat, but it's just to show, it's not to scale or anything, it's just to give an idea of the location of this plat.
Okay, thanks.
I've got one more question. Timeline on all this, I know this all came before council. What do we anticipate this looks like and when they're going to start on all this?
I can let the engineers, if they are here, give that timeline if you guys would like. If you could come and introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Chad Hartman with Peg Dawson Engineers. The engineer for the development, working with Pulte Homes on this. We're excited to get to do this in city of Sugar Land. It's nice to be able to work in the city again. The developer is obviously going to push as fast as we possibly can to try to get this in the utilities in the ground, lots on the ground. We want the taxable income. So as it sits right now, plans are in for approval. As soon as we get that approval, we have solicited a contractor to start construction And as soon as we can get construction, we'll immediately go and get underway with that. This will be probably about a 7-year project. They will probably try to crunch it down to 5. But the intent, as soon as we get plan approval, is to get permits and proceed with construction.
Okay. And Jessica, the permit's tied to plat approval, correct? Final plat approval?
Correct. So the process will be the preliminary plat will approve construction plans, and then the final plat will come
Go
before you.
together, right.
But this is in the city's ETJ, so they will not pull permits from the city.
Okay.
Construction permits, to clarify,
Thank you.
for the buildings.
All right, hearing no other discussion, I will make a motion recommending approval of the Rye Hill Parkway Street Dedication Section 2 preliminary plat with the modifications to the curve table on page 4 of 4 suggested by Commissioner Brown pursuant to Development Application Handbook, Section 5, Graphic Requirements for Preliminary Plat, Development Code, Chapter 5, Article 2, Sections 5-17, and the Design Standards and Development Application Handbook, Section 5, Graphic Requirements for Preliminary Plat, and Development Code, Chapter 5, Article 2, Section 517, pertaining to the call out of the general dimensions of streets, radius dimensions, and cul-de-sacs, et cetera. Is there a second? Second. I've got a second by Vice Chairman Landine. Is there any other further discussion? All right, let's vote, please. That passes unanimously among the members present. Thank you very much. Thank you, staff. We will move on to item 5A, Planning and Zoning Commission liaison reports. Anyone have the November 19 meeting? Does anyone remember whether they had that meeting? Okay. All right.
Only thing I had to, you guys were going to be up for a renomination.
Okay. Well,
And it's already passed.
I can confirm that happened. I also had the December 3rd, I had the December 3rd meeting in which many of the members of this commission were present, as well as some of the other members of boards and commissions of the city of Sugar Land to take the ceremonial oath of office. We took the actual oath this evening, so we're all legit. And I don't recall there being any other issues that were pertinent to P&Z. Although, I would like to say, as chairman of this commission, that I am grateful for the people that come before this position to make public comment, and particularly with respect to the fact that the vast majority of people that come before this commission to make comments do so in a rational, professional, and dignified manner. So I'm grateful that at least in front of this commission, that is the typical experience of public comment, and I'm grateful to the members of the public who have done so and who have conducted their behavior accordingly. So thank you for that. Item 5B, City Staff Report.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is your last meeting for 2024. Yay! We will hit the ground running in 25, though. We've got a lot of projects coming forward, and we'll also be scheduling your annual orientation. Now that we have appointments done and people sworn in, we will probably focus on a January meeting to complete your orientation requirement. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Can't wait to see you all back in 2025.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other business? I've got a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Landine. Is there a second? Second. I've got a second from Commissioner Smith. That motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned. Good night, everyone. Thank you and happy holidays. Take care. Be safe.